we're on our way out to go look at a few things. I've been looking for another telehandler for a while, and I'm not really interested in buying one that, at the price I can pay any day of the week, right? If I'm gonna go ahead and spend the money, then it needs to be a good deal, and this one might be a good deal. I don't know. We'll just have to see when we look at it and go from there. But I would like to have a second one to put at another property and just leave it there, so I don't have to keep moving stuff back and forth. And I've sold my skid steer. Actually, I've sold all my skid steers. I have no skid steers now at all, so I'll be looking for a replacement skid steer at some point too. But I thought if I can get a telehandler in the meantime, that would be pretty helpful. So we're gonna take a look at it, see what kind of condition it is, and if it's something we'd be interested in, go from there. Alright, so this is the first thing I came to look at, because I've been looking to get another telehandler, and I don't need one the size of my Great All, but close. This one's an 8,000 pound capacity. It has a 4-cylinder Cummins in it, and it has very similar characteristics as far as height and travel. It's a 8,000 pound capacity. It's a Lull brand, not a Great All. Differences on this one is it is a 4-wheel steer telehandler, which I don't have in the Great All. It is just rear steer, which has never been a problem for me. Things I like about it is the wheelbase is a little bit shorter than the Great All, but we have more tail swing here than the Great All. So there's a lot of comparisons, but it's a simple machine. It's an older machine, which is what I like. Another thing I like is it is a transfer case driven machine for 4-wheel drive. My Great All's 4-wheel drive too, but it's hydraulic driven. This one is driven with a transfer case forward to rear with kind of like a shuttle shift type deal, and then it turns into actual just drive axles. It's got a few damp spots. There's one hose right here that's a little leaky, but I ran this machine and it operates pretty decent. Like I said, it's got a few spots that are leaky, but really it's not horrible. I think it'd be a pretty good fit. The 4BT Cummins is pretty nice. Now, one feature this thing has that my Great All doesn't have is the boom section can slide forward. I think is it 6 feet it comes forward, so you can slide the whole carriage there forward and back, so it's pretty attractive. Now you can tilt the machine left or right, but you can also tilt the forks independently, which is kind of nice. But we're gonna have to see what we can do here. It's a decent older machine. It's gonna need some tires. They're foam filled, so that's always fun, but these ones are out of tread, and foam filled tires get expensive. This is the worst of it here. Of course, it's a pretty basic machine, but one good thing is your controls are all in here, and you can see they're hydraulic line controls. They're not electric switches, so for a machine that sits a lot, that's more attractive to me. And here is the level side to side, and you have your boom and your forks extend, and then your steering you change. I don't know where that was. There's a switch for the steering, and here's your ratings for it. 8,000 pounds, and it seems like every 5 feet you go out farther you drop 1,000 pounds or thereabouts, something like that. Out here it's down to 500 at 30 feet, and then you gain 80 inches in travel on that boom, I think is what they're saying here. But anyways, not a bad machine at all. Got some leaks, got some stuff, but we got some hydraulic leaks in here. Got some hoses coming up in here for the steering as well. But I think for the number I think I can buy it for, I think we're okay. But anyways, let's see what we can do, see if we can get it purchased. So they have a bunch of these they're selling too, and I've looked this thing over, and I don't really need a crane, but this is a 35-ton, 80-foot crane. I don't need that, but there's a lot of parts here for the kind of money I think this will bring. I don't think it's going to bring a ton of money. It's just not that nice of a machine. It's old, you know, it's got some issues. What is attractive about it is it's an 8.3 Cummins mechanical engine, not the cap system. A lot of good parts there, a lot of good tires and axles and lift axles, you know, hydraulic cylinders, big cylinders here, and that jib crane, jib part goes on there on the end of it, and then it extends as well. Look at them winches, man. Guy could do a lot with them winches, I imagine. And this thing was operational. You know, they were running this thing just a few months ago. It came off a job, so it is operational, just old. Let's see what we can do about that. And there's another one for parts that we're going to look at. I wanted to get a look at the drive axles in here, but it's so tight you just can't get in here. Is that a 2-speed axle? No, can't be, is it? Boy, the bushings out of that arm right there on that walking beam. Ooh. Let's get a look here. It is not easy getting under here. Well, I'd like to identify these axles and see what they are. I guess it doesn't really matter. Let me get to the back here. Well, we know they're Eatons, and they are huge. Holy moly. Good grief. Look at the carriage around these axles and the frame reinforcement. My Lord. Brakes are not going, but low. Tires are all virgins, they're not caps. That one's kind of bulged in the middle. Looking kind of low too. Let's look at that better. Try to get the date off these tires too. They added this lift axle because it was too heavy for the bridge laws in Ohio. That tire's junk. I imagine most of the steer axle, lift axle tires will be junk. Really kind of hate to cut the thing apart, but it's kind of what it is. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty rough. Let's see this here. They have a propane tank in here, so you can have heat inside the cab. That floor's gone. That brake pedal probably doesn't work. Nope. That one's seized up. But anyways, let's go look at the driver compartment. Look at the battery boxes here. This one's an automatic. I think this might be like an MD 3060. I need to look at that transmission and see what it is. Kind of sucks to take them apart, but controls for the lift axles, steerable lift axles. There's a Henderson brace manual for it. I'd like to know the specs on that rear axle. Let's look at that transmission. Tags on the other side, I believe. Go. There it is. What do we got? It's a big transmission. 3560. Man, that'd be okay. So 8.3 Cummins and a 3560. Yeah, it's probably worth the price of admission. Oh man, look at the front brakes. You guys know what that is. That's some old stuff right there. If you're not familiar. It's a heavy axle though. Change the spindle out, I guess. Not use them brakes anymore. That's what a stack of springs. Holy crap. Anyways, I think it's parts for me. That's what I'm looking at. All right, let's go look at the other one. Where are they running? Is this a drive shaft driven PTO? Must be the hydraulic tank right there. Suction line comes up to the top. There it is. Yeah, so the pump's here, 1 or 2 pumps, whatever it is, and it's driven off the back of the flywheel. So that's a different flywheel housing. Very interesting. So I came here to look at this too. This is a 88, I think, 359 Pete. It's a big cam Cummins. They said it's a 10-speed. I don't think it is. I thought it was a 9-speed. It's 9-speed. That's what I thought. What? Wait a minute. That is not right. Very interesting. Can't read the dash sticker anymore, but whatever. So I've looked at this and I had it started, I had it running. Well, here's where we're at. The oil pressure gauge doesn't move, and I took a video of the engine running down inside the engine to see if we actually had any oil pressure, and it's getting some oil to the top. It's just not what I would have liked. Like, see, they just replaced the wiper knob, so they're obviously converted to electric, not air anymore. That's why that stuff is new. Axle-lock, dump the airbag suspension, lift axle controls. Overall, man, it's a pretty decent truck. Now, they say it's got 300 and some thousand miles on it. Hard to say at this age, but man, the interior's pretty decent. Got a crack in it. Headliner there. That hard plastic stuff, but not too bad at all. I'm gonna roll underneath and see what transmission that really is. That's obviously not a 10-speed. Well, the tag's not on this, and I don't know enough about looking at that to tell you which one it really is. But this thing, if you notice, the frame's doubled right there. This was a road tractor day cab that was stretched, but this thing is a triple frame at some point. Let's see right here, we got 3 layers on the top, 2 on the bottom. So the top must come down, or is it a liner inside? Oh, there's the 3rd layer right there. So, oh, this goes in. It is 3 layers right there. Wow. It's pretty clean between them as well. I think this truck sat a lot. That's why it looks the way it does. Its physical appearance is not nearly as attractive as how well it operates, for sure. So the triple, here's their, is that their splice? Is that just grease? That's just grease. I saw a splice in here somewhere. I think it's down farther. But anyways, so the triple stops right there. And that's probably because that's where the lock is for the bed. Going on down here. The frame looks really good. Like, we're in Northeast Ohio, so this is inevitable here. But the thing that matters is, like back in here, you get rust jacking around the axles really bad. It actually looks pretty good, and we're going to see if we can get the keys and tilt the bed back and get a better look at the frame. The bags on the lift axle look okay. It's a Just a drop axle, not a steerable. Actually, the bottom side of that bed is in pretty decent shape. It's wood with metal overlay. They're supposed to be getting us the keys to it so we can run it again. Air tank looks good. And I'm looking at, can I put this thing into doing work right away, or am I going to have to do a pile of work to it? Let's get back and look at them axles. So above the axles is where they're usually the problem area, and I just peeled that piece of paint off there, rust crap, to check that, and it looks okay. It's really not bad at all. There's no holes anywhere I've seen so far, and this is the worst side because the fender that was here is been removed. It's been damaged, long gone, but the other side has one, so hopefully it's in better shape than this. But I wanted to look here at this suspension and see if it needs any obvious attention here. It'll take a little bit more to, got some leaks here. Frame looks okay. Brake chambers look okay. I mean, it's not going to be a premium truck at this price. This truck typically is a $15,000 to $20,000 truck in this condition around here. I'm gonna have to get up underneath there and look. I bet it's got light axles too, being the age of it. Yeah, them axles aren't very big. I have to see what they are, see what the brakes are. The downfall to this thing, you see that right there. The wear pads are gone, and it's worn into that piece there. It needs replaced. They've just not done it, and mine's the same way. But it's like this because it's a gravity tilt, just like what I have. It's not ideal, but it would buy me some time so that I could, have something to use while I'm building one. But look at the outside of the frame. It's well worth the effort, I think. And it's a tall frame. You got your tape measure?
Yeah.
It's a taller frame, seeing how it's doubled up. That's 10. I guess it's pretty standard. It just looks taller. Alright, let's look at the other side of the bed, see what it looks like. The tires are low on tread, but I don't know if they're terrible. Can't find a date on them anywhere. Must be on the inside. Anyways, they're Bud wheels. I hate Bud wheels. I absolutely hate Bud wheels. It's like that cylinder's a little damp. That one's okay. Got a hose leaking in there. You can see it's damp. These are got a lot of wear. It's the bottom of the. Oh yeah, this side of the bed looks better. See how it's got that full fender here. It's protected it. Got paint flaking, but it's pretty solid. A few places like this that the weld looks like it's broke and it started rusting between. There's a hole right there. This is why you look at stuff. It's building air pressure now. So this oil pressure gauge has been replaced, but these big cam Cummins motors don't make huge oil pressure, so having a 0 to 100 oil pressure gauge is worthless because it only gets maybe 35, 40 pounds, and then hot you're probably in the teens. It's not very much at all. It's 10 is way down here, and it's not uncommon to see these things at like 10 or 15 pounds of oil pressure hot. The valving's backwards. hydraulics work well. Mine doesn't go this fast, but look, it's binding up over there. Doesn't have a guide. She's binding up now. Oh yeah, look at that. That's out too. That roller's bad. Look at that. Holy crap. So it needs everything mine needs. Oh crap. This fitting's leaking. I just tightened it up. I bet you right where that's it, there's a bow in this bed. Yep, right there's a bow. Right where those are bad. Those high beams are bad. There's one, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them need replaced. Another hydraulic leak. It's getting worse. I don't know, still usable. This is just getting worse. I can't pay a lot for this. Everywhere I look, there's another issue I gotta take care of. I'm at a point I'm almost better off just build my own. So I looked everything over that I wanted to look at, and that rollback, it's really, it would buy me some time, but I don't know if it's worth the amount I'd have to spend to get it. I mean, it's a good base. It's like, I don't need any more things that need completely rebuilt. The good thing is the chassis is good. The bed needs some wear items and some things taken care of, but it's not terrible. I don't know. And the telehandler, I got my max number, actually on both of those, I got my maximum number in mind, and I just don't feel like either one of them is going to be a great deal. And if it's not a great deal, there's no sense in me buying them. I can just wait for the best deal, because I could just start building my rollback. It just means I have to put something else on hold, which, whatever, I don't really care. I guess we'll see what happens. So you see this 2000 Grove man lift. I bid that up to $6,250. We have some work that we're doing at another property, and having that man lift would make it so much easier to do some of this stuff. But I bid it up to $6,250 and I quit because this guy that you see here, this UD, he has been bidding against me consistently. Like, I would put a bid in, and like 10 minutes later he puts in a bid for, you know, like 3 more bids in increments, and then I would bid, and then he's right back at it. So he obviously wants this pretty bad. I don't think I can buy it for a reasonable amount. That's $6,500. I think is still a good price, but I'm not ready for it, and I may come across something less expensive. The 89 Lorraine crane, I put a bid of $1,500. That's just because I wanted to get the motor and the transmission. This was at 8.3 and that Allison MD 3560. I'd like to have had that, but the problem is, if I have a problem with this crane and it needs towed, it's a very expensive tow for me to get that thing brought home, and to me the risk just isn't worth it for what I'd be getting out of it. Same thing on the parts one. This one they've robbed parts off of, so it has to be towed. And I talked with the people selling it today, and they are not willing to move that thing outside the gate, and they have materials and other stuff all around that thing, and it'll just not be fun. And all the stabilizer jacks on the rear, all 4 of them, are down. It doesn't run, so we'd have to find a way to get the jacks up, and they are locking cylinders, so they take pressure to release the lock. So it would be messy, but I passed on it because if they're not willing to help us get it outside the gate, well, it's just a nightmare to get it towed. And The guy we'd have tow this, we've used several times. He's actually CE's buddy, and we've become friends with him. I've used him a good bit, and I really like him, but I don't want to put him in this situation where he has to deal with that. It just sucks. So the telehandler, I put my bid in at 87.50, and I had looked it over again, and I'm like, you know what? I'll go 12,000 on that, because at 12,000, when you put 15% buyer's premium on there, that's what it'd be. 10% is 12,500. Half of that would be 5%, so 625 bucks. So 1875 on top of that. So you're pushing 14 grand pretty easy. And it's not that I don't think the thing's worth 14 grand. It's just that I'm not looking to buy something at what the average everyday price is. If it's this time of year, if it's not a good deal, then I'd prefer not to buy it. So as of right now, I'm going to pass on that. This rollback, I looked this thing over, and the more I looked it over, the more I thought this thing needs everything. This bed needs everything that my blue rollback bed needs. It needs all the same work. However, if I can get this, at least it would give me something to use in the meantime, and then I could get back to work with some other stuff I was doing and let that buy me some time. The benefit of this is it's a tandem axle with a 20,000-pound lift axle, and it's a 30-foot bed. Now, it's still a gravity tilt, and I don't really care for them at all, but at the same time, it's a 30-foot. That's where I struggle with my little blue one. 26-foot is what it is, and when I put a medium-duty cabin chassis on there that was a box truck, the wheels are at the very end of that truck. The weight is not bad, but when you put the wheels all the way at the end of that bed, you're really stressing that bed, and the extra 4 feet would be very, very helpful. Not to mention, you got 2 more axles with brakes, and they're air brakes, and it's a big cam. Now, it does have low oil pressure, so sooner than later that will probably have to be addressed, but I took a video of the engine running so you can see that it actually does have oil pressure. It's that gauge is not reading correctly. So, and it's a good possibility that one of them piston cooling nozzles is busted, because it's a big cam, and that's pretty common. So we'll see what it is. You see, I got a max bid of 12.5, and it's at 12.250. There's not there's still like 45 minutes left or something like that. I don't recall, but my max bid, I don't really think I'm going to be going any farther, because it's just, it'll just be too much. It's got 36 minutes left. So this little trailer here is interesting. You'll see I put a bid of 500 bucks on it, and I was actually going to bid some more, because I was thinking about it, and I think this little trailer, I think it's like a 5x8. I think that's worth 500 bucks by itself on a bad day, And there's a diesel tank on the front. That's probably worth a couple $100 anyways. And the generator itself is a 3-phase generator, which most people don't want. It's not going to be very attractive, but people do like those Deutz air-cooled engines, and they actually have a pretty decent value, because a lot of guys will use them for like running hydraulics or running a field water pump or whatever, because you don't need a radiator, you don't need coolant, you don't need belts and hoses. It's just air-cooled, and it's very simple, and they're actually pretty reliable engines. So I was thinking about going a little higher on that, but we'll see what happens. I'll bring you along and let you know what this stuff goes for. I don't, we'll just wait and see. Well, here we are. The man lift sold for $82.50. That Lorraine one I put 1,500 bucks on sold for $57.50. The other one sold, the parts one, for $1,100. The Telehandler sold for $13,500. Peterbilt sold for $14,000. My max bid was $14,000, but he put $14,000 in before me, so he got it. Trailer went for $850. It's not, I don't think it's sold yet. There's the other trailer, but that's the end of it. I'm not doing anything else, so I guess we got nothing out of this sale. I would have liked to have had that rollback out of all of it. That was the thing that, even though it needed a bunch of work, it would have got me out of trouble for a while, but that's okay. We didn't get anything. We'll just continue to look. The right one is out there, the one that suits me and doesn't need as much work. I'll find it, don't you worry. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.